Hi classmates, Zach Thompson here, and today we are going to talk about artificial intelligence. How many of you have wondered if the job that you are training for and learning for in college will be replaced by robotics or artificial intelligence? How many of you have wondered about the amount of jobs that will be lost due to artificial intelligence? Well, I'm here to tell you that the future is not as bleak as you may think. Today, it is my goal to persuade you that artificial intelligence is actually a good thing and will actually make our lives better and our future brighter. So, first off, we've got to dispel a few things. So, a lot of economists, labor unions, and workers have a lot of stress about the idea of artificial intelligence and the amount of jobs that it will cause to be lost. Now, there is some truth to this. There will be jobs lost due to artificial intelligence. In fact, according to a 2020 article in Time magazine called "Millions of Americans Have Lost Their Job in the Pandemic," in 1964, AT&T employed over 758,000 employees. But today that number is 178,000. And according to the economist Deidre McCloskey in her article in Reason magazine titled "The Myth of Technological Unemployment," she observed that back in 1800, 1 in 5 jobs in the United States was on a farm. Today, that is 1 in 50. So there is some job loss, and industries are changed forever because of advances in technology. But that doesn't mean that the future isn't bright and that jobs are lost. Totally. In an article in 2019 in Forbes magazine titled "Is AI Going to Be a Job Killer?" they reflected on a research piece done by the research company called Gartner. Gartner hypothesized by the end of 2020, 2.8 million jobs would be created by AI, and only 1.7 million would be eliminated. So there's net growth there. And then also, according to the World Economic Forum's job report in 2018, they saw future growths based on technological advances, tech jobs, and artificial intelligence at a net gain of 100 million jobs by 2022. So the future with jobs isn't that bleak. And now that we know that, let's look at other areas that AI improves things. AI improves healthcare. Now, this is an area that people are really nervous about allowing AI or robotics to have much of a hold in their life. People are nervous that computers will make mistakes, and they're afraid of letting people like doctors use robotics in place of the old-fashioned methods of surgery or other technologies like pharmacy. So let's look at that. There is proof that AI can make mistakes. In a 2017 article from Median called "The Impact of Artificial Intelligence in Healthcare," they had a story that an AI in a hospital was designed to determine which patients with pneumonia needed healthcare first based on risk. What happened was this AI determined that patients that had asthma and pneumonia were actually low risk, which we both can understand and is actually talked about in this article is not true. Now, the reason that the AI determined this was because patients that have both asthma and pneumonia are automatically put into ICU, which exponentially increases their odds of living. So the AI wasn't able to read between the lines until somebody programmed the AI to understand that more. Now, that seems a little wonky, but let's look at some of the advantages that this has caused in healthcare. Something that the same article from Medium looks at is a technology that was developed by a company called Infravision. Infravision designed a CT scan and an X-ray machine that was able to identify lesions and nodules in the lungs, allowing for the detection of lung cancer much earlier and allowing for the likelihood of beating the cancer before it's too late, increasing the odds exponentially. Another thing that this article talked about was a technology that Stanford University has developed using an algorithm that allows people to take a picture of their moles or lesions and determine if it's cancerous or not. The neat thing about that is it's already being developed into a mobile app that will allow people to have great access to this technology and determine if the mole that appears on their arm is cancerous without needing to go to a doctor or waiting for a doctor's appointment. This is an advancement that could save thousands, if not millions, of lives. So now that we know that healthcare is improved by AI, let's look at some other practical advancements that AI has afforded us. Another thing that we could look at is space exploration and space technology in general. There was a whole generation that was captivated by the wonderment of space exploration. Whether it was the Sputnik satellite or the Apollo 11 mission to the moon, the whole world was captivated by the idea of going to space. But in recent years, budget cuts, higher cost of employment, higher cost of equipment has slowed down space exploration until it was privatized. And something that we're seeing already, according to an article in January 2020 by the European Space Agency called Robots in Space, we are seeing AI and algorithms and AI robotics doing the work that astronauts were doing, but doing it extremely more efficiently. For example, an AI algorithm was able to comb through millions of pieces of data that would have otherwise taken a human tons of time to comb through, and were able to do it in a fraction of the time. This is important because now we can analyze data much faster and understand it better without having all the time associated with combing through all of that. Another thing is the European Space Agency is saying that artificial intelligence robotics are already taking dangerous jobs that were being done by astronauts, such as repairs, and making them much safer by putting a robot out there instead of a human life. This is also excellent because one of the things that always slowed down progress with space exploration was loss of life, such as the Challenger incident. So with these things, we are now allowed and able to push forward with space exploration and make progress for the areas that we've lacked for several years. So hopefully, by giving you some examples of why AI is good, I've persuaded you to be a little bit more optimistic about the future. While I can't promise that AI won't completely annihilate us like the Terminator movies, I do think that there is cause for hope that AI will actually cause us to be a little bit more prosperous and grow as a society. We've taken a look at jobs, we've taken a look at healthcare, and we've taken a look at space, and we see that there is progress and growth that comes from AI. So instead of being bleak about the future, I say be optimistic and look to the stars. Thank you.